Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jim Welsh, and I am here with Payroll for Construction. I want to thank everybody for attending today's webinar on how a construction-specific payroll service can change your whole business. I do want to remind everybody that unfortunately today is a listen-only broadcast. Therefore, you won't actually be able to speak and ask questions as I go, but in your GoToWebinar toolbar, there's a spot for questions that you can type in. Some of them I may address right as they come across if it's pertaining to kind of where I'm at in today's webinar. Some I may defer to the end, but I will make sure I get all questions answered one way or the other. This will be a pretty high-level overview today of kind of who we are as a company, what we do, and kind of what our typical clients' needs are. And then we'll kind of just pop into the online payroll service just to kind of show you a few things. So I let everybody know that, at the end of this, you still probably have some questions. So you can always schedule a one-on-one live demo that's a little more specific to your company's needs. Today's demo, we have people attending from all over the country with, some are union, some are non-union, some need certified payroll, some are multi-state. So I kind of got to be pretty generic here today to kind of make sure everybody knows we can cover all of those items. But again, a one-on-one demo is always great where I can kind of narrow it down to your specific needs. So who we are here at Payroll for Construction is we are an online payroll service provider just for construction. So even more specifically, you'll see here in a second, again, the most complex payrolls out there, job costing, multi-state, as you can see below, we do process payroll in all 50 states. So whether you have employees spread out in different states or your employees travel to different states, we keep up to date with all the tax law, handle the taxes and things like that. Also, what you'll see here that makes us a little bit unique is the fact that we have another company called Foundation Software. So Foundation Software is a full ERP, job cost accounting, project management system, billing system. We're not here to talk about that today, but there is a little bit of crossover because what we realized about 20 years into Foundation being around is that there was a huge need for just a payroll service, like some of the traditional big name providers that pay the employees and taxes and things like that. But, it gets hard for contractors to outsource payroll because you got to have a software that's unique and specific to them. So with that being said, Foundation Software, you'll see when I go into the payroll service, it's branded Foundation. So you don't have to own or purchase our ERP system. We can work with QuickBooks or Sage or other accounting systems out there. But the reality is that, we just took Foundation's job cost GL and payroll module and posted it online so that you can just use this as a standalone service. So some of the things, again, and I've a little bit of repeat here, but, multi-state, multi-locality. You'll see in our system that you can control things such as wage scales or city taxes or state taxes by job. So we can automate whether you're entering time into our system or using some third-party mobile app, or maybe you're looking for also a mobile application, which we offer as well. So it's one of those things where we can really speed up the payroll process and help eliminate a lot of those mistakes and errors because nobody on your end has to, consistently change these types of things. The union fringe calculations, or if you're a prevailing wage contractor, even though the rate is here, behind the scenes, there's a fringe piece. So whether you're paying that to the employee's paycheck or putting it into some type of a supplemental plan, we can handle that. And then also if you're already offering your employees benefits as a non-union contractor, we can handle making sure that you can get that unique credit per employee on those fringes. Workers' comp also in construction, they're not just sitting in an office. They're traveling to jobs or doing different things. Depending on what the employee may be doing on the job could greatly alter that workers' compensation rate. So we can track those types of items by type of work they're doing as well. This is pretty big for the client base and client set we're dealing with constantly because with construction, yes, paying the employees, paying the taxes, wage garnishments, W-2s, quarterly tax returns. Yes, those are huge items, and that is a major reason people look to outsource. But one of the biggest time-consuming parts when you get into construction payroll is the compliance and the reporting that comes along with it. So with us, certified payroll, we can handle that. You'll see here in a second. There's not just one generic form anymore. I mean, depending on, if you're in California, a lot of it's electronic and online, LCP tracker and the California DIR. If you're in New York, there's a lot of different city, federal, agency formats, state formats, that, you can't just get the federal form. You have to be able to have those ones that, you can make sure that you have for the right agency. Same with EEO minority compliance. There are different formats, different things they want to see. So not just having one format, but having all the different right ones so that once payroll's done, you can just print, sign, and send these things off or upload them to said agency. Job labor and burden cost. I really focus here. A lot of people don't fully understand costing when it comes to a lot of the payroll services out there, whereas with us, we understand that, it's not just the employee's hours times their rate of pay. There are things like FICA, FUTA, SUTA, workers' compensation, union fringes, or health fringes that you pay. Those things all need to be a part of your costing so that at the end of the day, you have a true to the penny picture of what it's costing you out there to complete these jobs. Not just tracking workers' comp reporting, but, when they come to audit you, whether it's, every 6 months or every year, having a report that you can just, provide them so that you're not bogged down in the office for hours upon days, getting workers' compensation bureaus the information they need. Tracking 401k, creating files for vendors, or being able to, provide you with a report for that. Same with health insurance and things, handling child support and wage garnishments. And then also, if you're a union contractor, being able to provide a union report for audit and payment purposes as well can be time consuming, and our service can handle automating all of those items. Again, I'll kind of be pretty quick here because I already covered, yes, we are still paying the employees via check or direct deposit, all city, state, federal taxes, quarterly and annual returns, along with W-2s and other year-end services. A few other things that make us different is we do integrate with QuickBooks and other accounting programs. Why we're a little bit generic there is, one, for just space purposes on the PowerPoint, but also, QuickBooks is more of an out-of-the-box, off-the-shelf type software where kind of, as I call it, one file size fits all. So other accounting systems, it depends on the accounting system. Some of these older ones just don't have the ability to upload data back in. Obviously, there's nothing we can do about that other than, match your chart of accounts so that we can provide you with a nice clean cut report for journal entries. But a lot of them and most of them do out there allow for a file upload. It just, every company's different. Some use cost code, some don't. Some use phases and cost code, some don't. So we really like to look at that client's data and, have them get from their vendor a file that would work for them so that we make sure upon them switching and going live with us, there's no missing information in their current accounting system. Our only focus is construction. So when you call in and you need help, you're always going to talk to somebody that deals with the same type of payroll you're dealing with and that every one of our clients is dealing with. So we don't have to carve out a section of our business for new development and programming and supporting and troubleshooting. It's just, this is the only type of client we work with, so this is our only focus in what we do to keep enhancing our system and be there to help, answer questions and help support our clients as the industry continues to evolve. Importing time, again, some clients use a third-party mobile application that exports their time and they can upload it right to us. And others are basically, just entering time, or again, we do have a mobile application. You can also access this, again, any computer with internet, and also, online stubs where the employees' pay stubs kind of just get sent right to them and they can view them right on their phone or tablet or computer, whatever they have. Okay, so how payroll works with us, you log in online, you enter the time, or you mobile application, upload it. There's plenty of review and editing functionality because this is construction payroll. You are relying on, employees and contractors and supervisors to pass you accurate information in a timely fashion, and we know that just doesn't always happen. So, we give you plenty of things to look at to review back in the office, so it's never as if your employees are communicating directly with us their time. You're still going to be there in the office as you are if you're doing it in-house or another service, with the ability to go ahead and edit, check, make changes, and things of that nature. Then you submit it. That's when we take over, pay all the employees, taxes, all your reporting and stuff is available right at your fingertips, which is kind of where we will jump into here in just a second. So, I popped this up real quick. I kind of throw this out there right now, and then I'll throw it back up in the end when I'm asking questions. But, we're very easy to work with. We're not overly aggressive. So after this, if you want a live demo, you can reach out to me. If you just want some pricing or you have a couple questions, you can email me and not worry about, getting a call every 2 days to see. We know with payroll, as much as it is about the right fit, it's also about the right timing because, changing payroll is never fun, and there's time involved on both ends. So I'll pop this up, give everybody a second before I jump into the actual online software that powers our payroll service. Okay. Now, this is what a client sees upon logging in. We help train them. We help set all this up. Nobody's expected to know. Again, you're not having to purchase a full ERP system, but we just carve the parts out necessary to run payroll. So rather than log in and see some of the big name guys and gals out there, or logging in and even seeing payroll for construction, most of our clients, whether they're using our full ERP system or just us as a standalone payroll service, refer to us as foundation in the industry. So where I first like to start is look, payroll maintenance, union, prevailing wage. So again, we can set up wages and fringes. They can be connected to jobs. You can override what union or what prevailing wage rates and fringes to use on a per job, per classification basis. So as I come in here, we'll be able to see, if you're union, you'll have union terminology and language in here. We don't have this preloaded. We custom set this up to each individual client's unique needs. And then as this stuff changes, we have effective dates that we can roll these over on the exact day. So even if it's midweek, you don't have to start and stop payroll. Nobody has to receive multiple paychecks. Simply, the system will do it, and then it'll timestamp that on the paychecks and stuff like that, all your reporting. So it's very clear that you followed the rules of said union. If you're non-union, just a little different terminology, whether your rates are job specific or county specific. You'll have a list of classes, a list of the rates, and then for both case scenarios, the fringes can go on a separate table so that, they're taxed accordingly, they're calculating accordingly. So again, if you're union, you might see, hey, they give us a list of deductions and fringes. Here's what they're called. Here's how they calculate. They all calculate differently there in the union. What they calculate at, how they're taxed, if there's limits and stuff like that. Deductions come from the employee, so they're costed out in their gross wages to start. The fringes are going to come from you guys, so those will be a part of costing. So when I jump into a costing report, you'll see how we can account for all those different items. And then if you are a non-union contractor, you might have just a prevailing wage fringe that's taxable because maybe you are paying it to the employee in their paycheck, or if you are putting it into one plan or multiple plans, that can be handled as well. Okay, setting up workers' comp, uploading employees records, you can track hire, fire dates, driver's license, expiration, minority, gender, department, division they're in, vacation tracking, accruals, deductions, loans, all that stuff. So it's very good from a tracking standpoint. There's even a field for user-defined fields. So if there's anything over and above you need to track, you can do that through us as well. So what our clients' lives look like is basically putting in jobs. I'll touch on a job record really quickly just to show you. Again, being powered by Foundation, you're going to see it looks like there's a lot to fill out. The reality here is it's just simply a job name or number, and then saying whether you need certified payroll or not. If the job's in a different state, you can flag that so it divvies the state taxes there just for the hours and dollars on that job. And then if it is a prevailing wage job, we can attach one of those wage scale tables here. Or if I'm union, saying, hey, my guys are going from electrical local 38 to electrical local 127, and we need to pay their rates because they're higher. If our rates are higher, it can pay ours, but it wants to know what benefits do we need to pay there. So if we got to pay them all there, then that's going to make sure that my guys coming from our home union are going to report all their stuff on a different report and use their fringes and deductions and report to that union. Enter time, going to kind of bypass. There's so many different ways to do it again. Uploading from our app, another app, or even the entry screen itself, we have the ability to, you can enter time by employee or you can enter time by job or a combination. And then basically this is where you can get into kind of checking things. So I can run like a quick list for the current week where I can see by employee, days work, jobs work, cost code if you use them, regular versus overtime, different cities or states they worked in, whether it was private. So every employee does have a rate in their record for non-union for their private rate. And then you can see here attached prevailing wage job or county 1's rates, and then this was job or county 3's rates. So it increased that stuff automatically. And then our list and our reports can all be ran by job as well. Again, the job is very important in construction. So I can also see that same info. And now this same report is giving me job totals rather than employee totals. Also, reports can be ran for the current week, a month, a year. We do not archive any of your data. You can run back to the very first day that you started with us and see all that historical information. And then you can also print PDF, Word, Excel, or CSV. And then there's other reports you can look at. Hey, am I forgetting to pay somebody this week? Hey, what am I going to owe in taxes? Hey, what are employees' paychecks going to look like? So, again, being powered by an accounting system gives it that flexibility to say, again, I know this looks like software, but it's accessible online. And we are going to, here in a second, once everything looks good and you hit submit, we are still taking over to pay the employees, the taxes, the garnishments, the quarterlies, and W-2s. So once that's done, again, that removes a good part of your payroll, but then there's all the compliance reporting that needs to be done. So things like workers' compensation. We know that there are things like caps, sometimes a cap per class per week, month, or year, a cap per employee, or a cap per earning type where though this guy makes $21 an hour, when he works the overtime, he earns $63, but it's reflecting that we still only have to pay on the straight portion of earnings there. Okay. EEO minority compliance. Again, some places you got to upload stuff. Other places you got to come in and print. There's different places, different states, different formats here that can be ran. So as you can see, with our only focus being construction, as these things pop up, we don't have to sit down as a team and start talking about, well, how much time or resources do we want to divvy over to this construction area because, that's only 10% of our business. So I say we put more resources over here to gain more clients in the retail, the restaurant industry, things like that. Everything here is construction. So every dollar, every resource goes towards keeping that specific industry happy. Certified payroll, again, hey, if I'm in California or if I'm in New York, certain areas, or a place that uses LCP Tracker, Ohio, Illinois, I can come in here and I can hit a report button. And though the data doesn't look real good, it's because when you hit close, create file, you hit yes, so that you can upload it directly to their website without having to type things in. Certified payroll print. Now, I won't click on every one of these for time purposes because I like to keep this to about 30 minutes, respect your time and also, give everybody a chance here at the end to ask some questions. So as I go down, as you can see, if a new agency format pops up, we are all over that stuff because it is going to help a lot of current clients as well as help us gain new clients. So just a generic copy of the federal one. But again, this data will transfer to any of those formats there by just selecting the format. There's other reports, 401k earnings, the employee who loses their pay stubs or needs some earnings statement. They could either access that through our app we have, or you could print them out a copy if they're not real great with computers and stuff. This report here does a very good job of showing, okay, my job, my employees, my hours, my earnings, my FICA, my FUTA, my SUTA, my workers' comp, general liability if you want, anything else you contribute. Hey, I matched $18.01 into this guy's 401k this week. Union, again, going to depend. If you have union fringes set up and you're a union company, those would calculate there to give you your true to the penny job cost numbers for payroll, as well as your true to the penny cost per employee. So it's letting me know my 15 times 40 is 600. So my $15 an hour employee Rick here really made really makes 18.41, or not makes, but I should say costs me $18.41. Then finally, time off, stuff like that, union reporting. So I can come in here and say, okay, for my company, for date range, for union, here are my employees, hours with totals, gross with totals, total each employee put into each benefit, with a grand total summary of what I owe that union. Now unions are a little tougher. Some of these guys still use carbon copy paper. Can you do that, Jim? No, I can just provide you the numbers. Some will say, well, hey, it's got to have our logo, or it's got to be on this Excel file. Again, all this dumps to Excel, and there are ways to say, hey, they don't want the address on there, or they want it broken out regular versus overtime. So there is a lot of customization in these reports where we can, once they're customized, hit save. But sometimes with union, they have their own special website or report that you have to use. So we do a good job of at least getting you all that information so that you have it for payment and audit purposes. Make your life easier when it comes to that time. Also, all of our support is homegrown. So this little button here, when you call in, we're open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, which is 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific. So we service both, from East Coast to West Coast. And when you call in, you'll always talk to a live receptionist, seeing what the issue is so we can prioritize the call. You always talk to a live support rep who works directly for our company in the same office I do. And then by you clicking that and giving them permission, we can see the screen, you can see the screen, we can move the mouse, and you can move the mouse. So all the support and training and stuff like that is very interactive, very hands-on, because, once you know what you're doing here, this is very successful. You can save tons of time with it. But, again, it is construction. There are going to be times that mistakes are made after payroll. You need help, and we're here to help correct those. So at this point, what I like to do, we got about 5 minutes left here, open it up for questions. Again, there should be on your tab a little question bar that you can actually click and type in questions, and then I can kind of answer them as they come up. First one I got is asking about termination checks. How do we handle those? So if you need to do a layoff, payoff, or even a correction check that's for a large amount, we can give you the ability to print those right in-house. So, you know what I mean? So if you needed to do something like that, you could do that very quickly on your end. So those kinds of things are happening all the time here. So that is not an issue with us at all. Okay, somebody's asking about QuickBooks. Yes, it will upload back to your general ledger and your job costing for profit and loss statements in QuickBooks, and it will push the labor, FICA, FUTA, SUTA, workers' comp, fringes, all that stuff will go back so you can still get a true picture of workers' compensation. Okay, it looks like another one is saying, yes, you can track loans, vacation, and stuff like that. Absolutely, in our system. Somebody's asking a follow-up question to that is, can it be accrual-based? And can you track like state sick pay? Yeah, it can be accrual-based, and then there can be like caps on that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff is not a problem at all. And then there'd be reporting and stuff like that that you can run as well. Okay, looks like yeah, there is a way. Somebody's asking, is there a way to kind of see the like what an employee's pay stub would look like? So we have you can see this both before and after, and we do have different pay stubs. So this one here, if you have union fringes or if you pay some of their fringes, those things can show up here. You know, if they work across different rates, it can break that out so their paycheck's very visible there. You know, it can even show what jobs and what they did across those jobs down here, any fringes they got paid as well. Again, this is one of about 7 or 8 different ones we have, so we can find. You know, I've never had an issue finding the right one for a client. Okay, somebody's asking about Jonas. Yeah, so they should be able to provide you with a file template layout. Again, this is one of those things. People sometimes don't like the response, makes them feel like, oh, well, have you ever done it? You've never done it. It's like, we've done it, but if we did it 3, 4 years ago, it's like things could have changed. They could have updated things. So they should be able to provide you and say, hey, listen, um, here is, okay, you want to upload info back. I mean, sometimes they're going to ask you, like, I've had people say, Jim, here's the file that they said we need. And I look at it and say, hey, guys, this is just general ledger stuff. You may want to reach back out and say, hey, look, we want to outsource payroll, have a payroll company process it all, put all the payroll there, and then they can create whatever file we need to upload job costing and general ledger information back in. Be very specific that you want both of those two items because, you know, and I always prompt this. I never want to leave somebody. I'm guessing you would never want to leave your job costing out, but sometimes they'll just say, "Here's this. You want to make sure," and then they turned around a few days later and said, "Oh, well, here's the file layout for something like that." So those are again things that if we did a one-on-one, this lined up, pricing looked good, absolutely, I would say your next step is get a hold of them, get your hands on that, send it to me, and that way I can be sure we make it, and then it's ready for you day one and not weeks down the road because you can't go a week without that information going back in. So more so than any other service that just likes to tell you, yeah, we can do that, we can do that. Listen, the term integration is very, very loose, and we do a much better job up front of being like, hey, let's make sure this is going to look the exact way you want it, as opposed to me just saying, yeah, we didn't lie. We integrated. We pushed just your general ledger information back. So just be careful out there. Also looking at others that'll say, yeah, we've done it before. We make sure we test it ahead of time for you. But yeah, I mean that's a system that can upload data back in. So in short, you shouldn't have a hard time getting your hands on a file like that. Any other questions at this time? I'll pop this back up again. That way, again, if anybody wants to, shoot me an email, schedule a demo, ask questions that pop up after this, or just want some pricing to start, let me know. I'd be happy to help out. Again, my name is Jim Welsh, and want to thank everybody for their time today, and hopefully hear from some of you in the near future. If not, everybody enjoy the holidays and have a happy New Year.